Hi everyone, this is Elena of the Witches Box, and I'm here with another episode of Witch Booktube. Today's book is such a beautiful work of art. Again, I said this in the past about another book where I feel like it almost doesn't matter what's inside the book because the art is so beautiful, so visually sumptuous that it's beyond. However, let me give you the backstory to the book. I will show you the book, and then we're going to dive into what's really in the book, which is really also amazing. This book was sent to me in digital form. I believe it was sometime last September or October of 2021. So it was a while ago because as I'm recording this now, we're in January of 2022. But you know how I roll. I've got big stacks of to be read books and like a whole file of digital books that are sent to me to be read. So your girl rolls slow, but I get there, let me tell you. So the publisher sent me an email, the author sent me an email, really lovely, both of them. When I opened up the digital copy of the book, I squealed. It is such a magnificent work of art. And you know how I love a good, beautiful book that's also got art in it, because the book form itself to me is an art piece, even if it's just words, just text inside. But this, the photography, anyway, I will show you because it's kind of beyond describing. So they both wrote me very graciously. They sent me a digital copy. I loved the digital copy, but at that point, when I read through it, I decided to wait until I got the actual hard in my hand book, the hard copy of it. So when I did, it was even more enchanting than the actual digital book. So I'm going to show you the book, and then I'm going to talk about the bio, the table of contents, and just the magic that this book is. I know that I'm late to this game because this book has been out for a minute. And I think that I'm pretty confident in saying, but I think that the reviews for this book are just raving and beautifully positive all across the board. This is the book. So it's Bohemian Magick by Veronica Varlow. Let's just linger here for a hot second. First of all, yes, I've got tabs for you because I wanted to show you a couple things, but also it's just beautiful. But then the details, because you've got almost like stickers that are shiny and bright. This is the back. Reclaim Your Wild. It's by Harper Design. You've got to give a shout out and an appreciation to publishers that are willing to do books like this, because books like this are not cheap to make. The amount of color print in the book is extraordinary. You got to give a shout out. It's nice to be big and you can do this because these books are truly just exquisite works of art. This is can you see it? There we go. This is the spine. So beautiful. Okay, so it's Bohemian Magick, Witchcraft and Secret Spells to Electrify Your Life by Veronica Varlow. Let me really quick go to the bio and I'll read that to you. Veronica Varlow is the last of a line of Bohemian witches, a fourth-generation intuitive and an international burlesque showgirl. She is a confidence and sensuality coach who has been featured on The Tonight Show, Playboy, CNN, and MTV in 115 countries worldwide. Veronica and her husband, David Garfinkel Varlow, established the branch of witchcraft known as Spectaculus, an intersection of the Bohemian Magick legacy of Veronica's grandmother Helen and Garfinkel Varlow's rock and roll pagan practices, which stem from natural mysticism and instinctive creativity. Veronica is also one of the co-founders of the infamous Chelsea Hotel Coven in New York City and the founder of Witch Camp, held at the Magic House in Woodstock, New York. Her client list includes Chanel, Tiffany & Company, Vogue, Marc Jacobs, Creative Time with David Byrne, and the Whitney Museum of American Art. She performs love rituals, couples rituals, and healing rituals all over the underground art scene of New York City at events curated by House of Yes, Shanghai Mermaid, Dance of Vice, Lust, Vox Noctum, and You Are So Lucky. She also writes a regular column called Life of a Love Witch for Enchanted Living magazine, and Veronica lives in Brooklyn, crafting spells and making magic with David and her familiar, a half-wolf, half-chihuahua known as Niney. I mean, come on. For more adventures, you can visit www.lovewitch.com and follow her on Instagram at Veronica Varlow. So this is her bio page. I'm going to be showing you quite a few of the pages in this book because we don't have time for me to show you every single page, but literally every single page is a work of art. I love this book for a million reasons. I mean, obviously, I've already started to rave about the visuals and how beautifully artistic this book has been created and put together. The other thing that I really love is that this is at once an example, a beautiful example of family witchcraft, right? We don't really talk about family witchcraft a lot. There is a lot of talk about what tradition should I follow? How do I know which one's right for me? But there are also examples of families for multiple generations who have passed down over and over and over again different spells, different way of doing things, different ways of looking at life from a mystical lens. And she shares that with you. So this feels very much like it's not a traditional or typical autobiography or memoir by any means, but it sort of has that flavor woven in because you're hearing about her grandmother and the spells and magic that she created and what she passed down. And then what you have is an example of Veronica and her husband then taking that and then weaving their own uniqueness, their own unique perspective, their own unique lifestyle into the magic that they create and weave from what they've learned and what's been passed down. It's a beautiful example of just that kind of in real time living witchcraft. We're weaving it as we go. We're creating new instances of meaning and culture and rituals because of what's been passed down, but also what is today. I really love it for that. Her magic is very organic, what I call a very organic magic. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but let me get myself back on track because I'm super excited and I'm jumping all over the place. Let me get into the book. So first thing I want to show you really quick, because I love when this happens and I really appreciate the personal touch. I got a note from her, which is lovely. Thank you so much, Veronica. Beautiful. But then also, again, look at this. Look at this. So beautiful. So this is the dedication page, and this is from her to her husband, from her husband to her, which I think is really sweet. I promise I am not going to go through every single page, but I'm so tempted to. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. This is the table of contents. I'm going to read it to you in a second or right now. So you've got quite a lot going on. This is broken up into, if I'm not mistaken, it's broken up into two parts. So you have an introduction, you have, oh, this is what I love. I love this. So you have an introduction and then you have a spell right off the bat before you get into anything else. And it's an enchant this book to you. A lot of her magic, which I just gobbled up and loved, is about really bringing yourself into the magic that you could create by using different parts of body castings and all. That's my word, not hers, but I will share what that is in a minute. But the idea of this is a book that you've now purchased. It's yours, and enchanting it to imbue you with the power of the book so that there's a relationship in expounding and imbuing that magic in all that you do. Beautiful. It's a really lovely, simple ritual spell, but it's gorgeous. So then part one is the Spectacular School of Spellcasting, where she explains what that is, who they are, how they do magic. I love it. Part two is the initiations, and I'm going to read to you what those are. So initiation one is the resurrection of your mind. And in that section, you've got one that's called Hello, I Love You, Crossfire Hurricane, Walk This Way, Magic Bus. Initiation number two, We Can Be Heroes. There's a lot of rock and roll and music references here, which also just tickle me because, you know, I'm a music whore as well. And it speaks to me in a really beautiful way. So that's initiation number two. And in that section, you've got Search and Destroy, Return to Sender, Break On Through to the Other Side. I love this. Initiation three is A Self-Love Supreme. And in that section, you've got Walking on the Moon, Sweet Child of Mine, Dearly Beloved, We Are Gathered Here Today to Get Through This Thing Called Life. Okay, you're killing me. I love it. So initiation number four is Love Magic. And in that section, you've got There's a Light That Never Goes Out, I Melt With You, and Bohemian Rhapsody. Initiation number five is the Cosmic Coven of Spectaculus. And then there's what I think is an appendix is The Road Goes Ever On and On. And there is like a word lexicon and acknowledgements and a photography and illustration credit section. You can feel it already just from reading the table of contents, how much of her and them is imbued in now what they are working as their own particular magic, their own type of school of magic, given and passed down from 4 generations that then continues to grow and be alive and evolve over time. It's fun, but it's also like some deep magic. You see pictures of her grandmother, a picture of her and her familiar. On pages where you just have text or content, they still look beautiful. Her mom and dad. I'm going to read this to you because this is her invitation. The title to this page is called, This is the First Time I Have Ever Shared These Secrets. And this is what she says just in the first paragraph that I'm going to read to you. My grandma Helen's magic was the witchcraft of the working class. She read tea leaves from a torn open Lipton bag and laid down well-worn playing cards to read the future after her chain-smoking, whiskey-drinking poker games with the ladies. Along with sharing my grandma's magic, I'll show you the mystical ropes. My own brand of magical spell casting is a bit more adventurous, with a bent towards the sensual and the experiential. Spectaculous is the witchcraft of the wanderers, the misfits, and the artists and the poets. Beautiful. What I want to say really quick is that this isn't necessarily a book that teaches you how to be a witch if you're a beginner, but it's also not an advanced book. It's a book where someone is literally sharing what to me feels like an incredibly intimate book of shadows that encompasses the lineage and what's been passed down and what's been created out of that. So in that sense, it's kind of a hard book to classify, other than to say that because it's a very particular brand of magic that's been created in a very small family lineage, right? That isn't public, that isn't broadly broadcast into the world. There is a lot to be gained from reading these spells and doing these spells and really getting a feel for why she does what she does, how she does it, and the tools that she uses to get to the end results that she's using. There's a lot to be learned here. There is a lot of work with spirits here. There's a lot of work with invoking even rock stars, which I think is really a gorgeous way of illustrating working with our great dead. There's a lot of craft to this as well, which I really appreciated. She talks about add your own sorcery signature in this section. And here is where there is an explanation of adding what I call magical tags, parts of your body to the spells that you create in order to really imbue it with your DNA and to really tie it to you and to your power. So she'll explain the different parts that you can use and what their meanings and strengths and powers are, like your hair, your nails, your blood, your teeth, your saliva. She goes through it in this section. So that's partly what I mean when I say organic. The other part of what I mean when I say organic is that it comes from a really deeply rooted, intuitive place. Okay, and then there's a section where she does talk about working with sigils. I'm not going to get into it because really I want you to buy the book. So let's just go there. Most of us at this point, especially if you've been watching me for a while, we've talked about sigils pretty extensively in different ways in different places. But she talks about creating songs out of sigils, like a sigil song. And I have heard of this before, but for whatever reason, when she wrote it here, because I was already in the world of music and musical references with her magic, it really landed in a really powerful and potent way. I love that she brought this in. We don't talk about this enough. So there's that. This is similar to the other book that we talked about that was really beautiful, The Seasonal Soul, where I don't want you to feel that just because literally every single page is an artistic work of art, a gorgeous work of art, that you're not getting a lot of information. This book is jam-packed with spells and with information that I think is incredibly valuable to all of us. I also love that she included some of her own handwritten invocations and spells. So it very much looks like and feels like a home scrapbook, but of spells and magic and lore. Even if you're not looking to read a book that teaches you how to do various spells because you feel like you've got your spell game going. Because a lot of us, after a while, like I've got the same 2 or 3 or 4 spell format that I go to over and over again, because after a while you start to go to the things that you work with really well, that seem to work for you, even if you're that person and you're not really interested in expanding your spell repertoire. Just the experience of looking through a book that explains and shares the familial journey and then how to continue that as a living tradition, I think is a really beautiful endeavor. So in that sense, it feels like it's equal parts family grimoire memoir as well as a spell book. It's equal parts those things, and I think that you can definitely get something out of it. This is one of those things too where, again, you know me, and I love this idea of spending a Sunday, a cold Sunday, especially now the season, wrapped up with a warm blanket and a hot drink and this book, just to kind of peruse through it at your leisure for an entire day. Seems like it would be complete magic. She's a performer. She's got a lot going on. If you check out her website, you're going to get a lot of information, and I really recommend this book. The link to this will be down below. There it is. Bohemian Magick by Veronica Varlow. Veronica, thank you so much for sending this to me. It was a beautiful joy to read, and I'm still loving it. It also comes in an audiobook as well, obviously a digital book as well, but I feel like the book is the place to go because you want to hold it. You want to look through it. I feel like I could keep you here forever, just kind of showing you. I'm going to show you 2 more and then we're going to go. Look at these photos. There's just so many different things to look at. Okay, come on. So yeah, basically it's a 5, 5, 5, 5 plus, plus, plus. Go get it. I'll link to that below. Thank you, Veronica, for sending this to me. And if any of you have this, I know people are reading this already and they're like just raving about it. If any of you have it and you've had an experience with it, please share it down below. I can't stop showing it. Anyway, there it is. Take care and I'll see you next week.